What up, world? This is Nick, and we are here at about 10:47 p.m. Why am I recording something this late? Because we're going to talk about the myth that eating carbohydrates in the evening makes you fat. Spoiler alert, it's a bunch of crap. So, in honor of such a ridiculous statement, I'm going to carb up. Figured first carb choice, Bush Heavy, because I come from small town Illinois and you gotta stick to your roots. Better make it two. In addition to some delicious beer, some wonderful donuts as well that I will be eating throughout this conversation. This first donut goes out to all the trainers out there who believe this and also have told their clients that eating carbohydrates in the evening will make you fat. Check yourself. Cheers. Okay, that was delicious. But all joking aside, let's really dive into this because this is a statement that, peeves me off beyond belief. And I know that there are trainers out there that are telling their clients that if you eat carbs after a certain time, 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 9 p.m., whatever it is, who cares, that all those carbohydrates are going to go directly to fat. What a load of crap, okay? Eating carbohydrates in the evening is one of these things, and there's a few things that fall in this category that I consider window tint items. The analogy being, if my main goal, I'm building a car, and my main goal when I'm building this car is to see how fast I can make it go, I am not going to sit around and stress about what the window tint is. That's just wasted time. That's little crap. So if your main goal when it comes to body composition is losing fat and weight loss in general, do not sit around and worry about whether your carbohydrates are coming at 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. That's a window tint item. It doesn't matter. What the overall umbrella topic when it comes to weight loss, and we all know this, I'm not reinventing the wheel here, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, is that guess what? If you eat more calories during the day than you utilize, you're going to store the excess as fat. That's just how it works. You're not special. You're a human being, okay? So let's get that out of the way and talk about, how our body actually works so that we can start thinking about this in the correct way. Which means that I need another donut. Okay, let's dive right into how the human body actually works. It's a very simple concept. All right, fat storage made simple. Every day we eat food, and our body basically asks, do my muscles need more fuel or not? Our muscles store a certain amount of carbohydrates in them, and we want those full for the next day. So if our muscles do need additional fuel, our body says, yes, use the food that we just ate to fuel our muscles, to fill our muscle stores. If we've already filled our muscle stores, that overflow goes to our fat stores. This is about as simple as I can make it. So at the end of the day, let's say it's 11 o'clock like it is right now, and food is no longer being eaten. Our body still asks, do our muscles need more fuel? This is assuming you're sleeping now. And if the answer is yes, then our body rearranges. It takes fuel from our fat stores and migrates it over into our muscle stores. And this is called fat loss. Having full muscle stores is the equivalent of having enough money in your checking account to pay all your bills. If you don't have enough money in your checking account, you don't have a place to live because you can't pay your rent, right? So the idea of carbohydrates at night being preferentially stored as fat is like not having enough money in your checking account to pay your bills, but having just massive savings that you're never going to use to pay any of your bills. Does that make any sense from a financial standpoint? No, and it makes even less sense from a body standpoint. Every day when we wake up, our body would prefer to have our muscles stored fully with fuel so that we can utilize that throughout the day's activities. Our body is not going to store fat unnecessarily when our muscles need fuel. So that kind of begs the question, how did this myth come about? And before I can answer that, I gotta need another donut. This is ridiculous. Man, if I had eaten this at 5 p.m. instead of now, I've been a lean meanie, lean bean. But since I waited, oh, woe is me. So even though this seems like a very simple concept, it does beg the question, why do people think this way? Where did this come from where people were like, okay, if I eat past a certain time in the evening or whatever it is, I'm more preferentially going to store my carbohydrates as fat. The only thing I can think of, the only thing that one, doing research has come up, is our hormone levels do change throughout the day. Part of our circadian rhythms. Go look it up. You can read all about it. And as part of those hormone changes, our body does become more insulin resistant as the day goes on. Now, what confuses me about this or about people's thinking in general when it comes to this concept, is that, our body may become more insulin resistant as we progress through the day, which means that our body will not utilize carbohydrates in the same fashion as it did earlier in the day, or won't absorb them as well. But it doesn't explain why they would be preferentially stored as fat, because insulin drives glucose, carbohydrates, into both muscle cells and fat cells. So if we become more insulin resistant, that doesn't just apply to muscle cells, that applies to fat cells as well. And so, if anything, later in the day, our body would be less likely to store carbohydrates as fats. So, the whole thing really is a sham. Let me preface that when I say the statement that carbohydrates in the evening will make you fat is a load of crap, I do mean that. However, trainers that tell their clients not to eat carbohydrates after a certain time may be doing that in order to keep them from overeating. So if that's the case, then by all means go ahead and do it. But if you're one of those people that adheres to the theory that eating carbohydrates after a certain period of time after a certain time at night is going to go directly to fat, that's crap. And you gotta get that stuff out of your head, because nutrition can be as simple or as complicated as you want to make it. If you want to look at the simplest fashion, start looking at calories in, calories out, and go from there. Because guess what? The issue is not whether you're eating your carbohydrates at night. It's probably that you're eating too many of them in general and too much food in general. So if you can fix that first, then maybe you can worry about what time you actually are eating. At the end of the day, what matters is finding a nutritional strategy that is going to fit your lifestyle, because I always tell people that if you can't find a way of eating, and also this goes for training as well, a way of training and a way of eating that's going to fit your lifestyle and your time constraints and the way your schedule's laid out in the day, if you can't find something that fits that, then it's not worth doing. Because if you're crash dieting, that's not going to fit your lifestyle, and if it doesn't fit your lifestyle, there's going to be no adherence to that program for an extended period of time, which means it's no longer weight management. It's just, taking acute action, getting acute results, and then over the course of time, all that's going to course correct back to what you were before anyways. So find the best way, whether it's eating carbohydrates at night, eating carbohydrates in the morning, whenever you need to eat your meals, find what fits best for your schedule and makes it easiest for you to eat properly and not overeat, and go from there. We'll talk about more of this stuff in the future, but I'm going to sit here and I'm going to finish my beer, because carbohydrates at night, screw it. And yeah, we'll talk more later. Toodles.